Hello and welcome back to Vintage Disney here on Brian's Things Are Cool. Since my 2 Lost Attractions videos, I've been wanting to talk more about my memories of Walt Disney World. And while reading an old issue of Disney Channel magazine from October of 1996, I think I found the perfect way to do it. 2 featured articles in this issue, Goofy and Max's Madcap Adventure at Walt Disney World, and 25 Years of Magic at Walt Disney World, instantly brought back thousands of memories of my family's trip to the park during this celebration. Between October 1st, 1996 and January 31st, 1998, it was Walt Disney World's 25th anniversary celebration. So I figured with this year marking the 30th anniversary of the 25th anniversary, I'd take a look back at one of my favorite vacations. Starting the day with a character breakfast, we headed over to the Magic Kingdom with our Guest of Honor badges in hand to kick off the celebration on Main Street, USA at the Magic Kingdom. After tracking down some characters for autographs, it was time to take in the Remember the Magic Parade. Created for the 25th anniversary, Mickey and his Disney pals would ride down Main Street on 6 giant floats, along with dancers and other performers, all singing a new song, Remember the Magic. You could dismiss this as a standard daily parade for the Disney parks, but in a twist, the action would stop and guests would be picked out of the crowd to dance on Cinderella's float, be Belle's guest on the Beauty and the Beast float, or bang the drums alongside Simba from The Lion King. I never got picked for any of the parades myself, partly because my family generally used the parade times to get shorter wait times on the rides. But seeing the action in passing, it was an impressive parade. Parades can be exciting, but to really kick off their silver anniversary, Disney felt it was time for some fresh ideas to be added to their existing attractions. Opening on June 29, 1996 was Mickey's Toontown Fair, the 3rd retheming of Mickey's Birthday Land, which opened in 1988. While the first 2 incarnations of this area, Mickey's Birthday Land and Starland, were set in the city of Duckburg, Mickey's Toontown Fair was themed to be the vacation home of Mickey and his friends. I talked about this land more in one of my Lost Attractions videos, but between its opening and eventual closing on February 11, 2011, to make way for the Dumbo-themed Storybook Circus, I always look forward to visiting Mickey's Toontown Fair. Interactive attractions like Donald's Boat, Mickey's House, as well as Minnie's, and of course, Goofy's Barnstormer, which was such a good kiddie coaster it even survived the next retheme, being rebranded as the Great Goofini, all suck you into this cartoon world, making you wish you could become a permanent Toontown citizen. The Dumbo retheme is beautifully done, but I'd love to see Toontown come back. Then, after a brief walk through 1990s Fantasyland, complete with the old Skyway, we headed over to one of my favorites, the Haunted Mansion. Visiting the Haunted Mansion on this trip meant you got to see the attraction before any major updates. 2007 saw new changing portraits added, updated vocals for most of the ghosts in the graveyard, and the large spider was replaced by an endless staircase. 2011 saw a significant change to the line area when interactive crypts and tombstones were installed, which are fantastic, but I can't help but feel nostalgic for how it was when I was growing up. This trip would have also allowed you to see the Pirates of the Caribbean in its original form, before Jack Sparrow existed, and when the redhead was the most desired woman at a bride auction before she became a pirate herself, which, I don't know, it still seems off. Epcot saw its fair share of changes during the 25th anniversary as well. My family would generally start her day at Epcot in the World Showcase for a little culture. Dinner was usually somewhere fancy, meaning a place a kid like me wouldn't normally pick. On this trip, it was Coral Reef Restaurant. Then, of course, it was time for some attractions. One major retheming that opened in time for the 20th anniversary was Ellen's Energy Adventure, which debuted on September 15th and was an update to Epcot's Universe of Energy. I spoke about this one in one of my Lost Attractions videos as well, but this was a solid retheming, even if Ellen DeGeneres isn't as well loved as she was in 1996. I'm sure the Guardians of the Galaxy ride that now occupies the same space is quite impressive, but now where can you see problematic comedians hanging out with dinosaurs? A staple of every Disney vacation for us was a ride through World of Motion. But after 13 years and 2 months, this old favorite about the history of transportation closed its doors to make way for Test Track. Test Track was scheduled to open in May of 1997, which would have been smack dab in the middle of the 25th anniversary celebration. Unfortunately, everything that could go wrong with construction did go wrong. From wheels that couldn't handle the high speed of the ride, bad software that prevented a sufficient number of cars to run at the same time, and continuous breakdowns, all contributed to pushing the ride's opening back by 2 years, eventually opening on March 17, 1999. With the ride currently undergoing its 3rd renovation, I really think they should have just kept the World of Motion, though I hear the new update is heavily inspired by it. But on my trip during the 25th anniversary, I was at least able to stand outside the attraction and check out all the latest GM cars. The Walt Disney World property is huge. To really do it all, you would need at least 2 or 3 weeks. Here's a look at some attractions that opened for the 25th anniversary that my family usually skipped or saw little bits and pieces of. Pleasure Island, which originally opened on May 1st, 1989, saw a major expansion during the 25th anniversary celebration, not only to the club, but its surrounding shopping area, the Village Marketplace. I was too young for nightclubs, and even when I was old enough, I tended to avoid them. I do remember shopping in the Village Marketplace from time to time, and of course eating at their Planet Hollywood. Looks like Goofy's son Max made a stop there as well. Not sure about the Mighty Ducks, but as an Ed Wood fanatic, I remember them having the Angora sweater that Johnny Depp wore in 1994's Ed Wood. Most of the attractions new for the 25th anniversary that were outside of the park were ones none of us really had an interest in, like Disney's International Sports Complex or the IRL racetrack, so I can't really comment on them. Though if I ever do go back and had more time and an extensive amount of disposable income, I'd love to see the Disney Institute, which opened that year and gave you the chance to learn about animation, cook top-tier cuisine, and more. Now I just have to figure out how to become independently wealthy. A great way to rest your feet after a long day of walking around the park is a stage show. And for the Big 2-5, Disney brought a stage adaptation of their then newest animated feature, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, to MGM Studios theme park. Condensing a brand new film down to 20 minutes for a stage show is nothing new for Disney parks. The Little Mermaid ran for years. Then there was Dick Tracy, Diamond Double Cross in 1990, which I really wish I had more memories of.
Calling Dick Tracy! Calling Dick Tracy! The Memorial Diamond has just been stolen from the museum! Calling Dick Tracy!
I'm on my way. Tess, I gotta go.
Where?
The club race. Call it a bunch.
Club risk. I call it dangerous.
Danger comes with the territory, Tess. I'm used to that.
But given how dark Victor Hugo's original book is, Hunchback of Notre Dame was an odd choice for Disney, both as a film adaptation, but especially a theme park stage show. Granted, the film chose to lighten up certain aspects of the story, but the stage show went even further, cutting all of the villain's songs out of the production. It was an energetic show with fun music, even if they did cut Frollo's song Hellfire out, that ran from 1996 to 2002.
How dare you defy me?
You mistreat this poor boy the same way you mistreat my people.
Silence!
Justice!
Arguably the most important aspect of a trip to Walt Disney World is your hotel. After all, it's where you rest your head after a long day of walking around in the scorching Florida heat. In the early years, my family stayed at the Grand Floridian, until we realized how convenient the Yacht and Beach Club was to everything. And that became our go-to place. But coinciding with the 25th anniversary were two new hotels. One was the Southwest-themed Coronado Springs, which I've never been to, and the other was Disney's Boardwalk Resort, which was almost as impressive as the parks themselves. Opening on July 1st, 1996, the resort has a heavy 1920s Atlantic City theme. Completely missed opportunity, though, to not have a speakeasy or someone dressed up as Nucky Thompson. We stayed in the hotel once, mostly for its pool, which featured a roller coaster themed slide called the Keister Coaster. But the real draw were its restaurants. There was the seafood restaurant, Flying Fish, Boardwalk Ice Cream, and Boardwalk Deli, where we'd often get breakfast before going into the parks. As with Pleasure Island, I never partook in the nightlife on the boardwalk, but if that was your thing, there was a nightclub, Atlantic Dance Hall, and Jelly Rolls, a dueling piano bar. Ultimately, we decided that the Yacht and Beach Club was more to our liking, but we would shop and eat at the boardwalk for years to come. What's a celebration without a big cake? Let's close out this big hootenanny with one more trip to the Magic Kingdom. The Magic Kingdom is known all over the world as the home of Cinderella's castle, probably the most famous centerpiece of any theme park. Imagine the shock to your senses if you got there and found it looked like this. Turning the beloved symbol of Walt Disney World into a giant birthday cake took 3 months, 500 gallons of pink paint, not to mention 10-foot tall lollipops, and 26 30-foot tall candles. That's 25 candles for the anniversary and 1 to grow on. It was here that the 25th anniversary festivities began, with an exciting flyover by U.S. military jets, and even speeches by then CEO Michael Eisner, Walt's nephew Roy E. Disney, and then First Lady Hillary Clinton.
If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all.
30 years have passed since, with this year marking the park's 55th anniversary. Disney has certainly had plenty of celebration and milestones within that period, but having been there at the time, I have to say I don't think they've ever gone as big as they did for the 25th anniversary celebration. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my look back at the 25th anniversary celebration of Walt Disney World. If you'd like to be kept up to date as to when I release a new video, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And if you really want to be notified, hit that bell as well. I'm Brian, and I'll see you next time on Vintage Disney.